Centre of screen, we have James Vowles. Right of screen, we have Flavio Briatore. And soon we're going to be joined as well by Toto Wolff. Now, James, if we could start with you. Let's start by talking about the business here in Zandvoort this weekend. The team has been very quick here these past 2 seasons. How's it looking this year?
The good news is it looks like it's continuing on as it has done. The car works well here. It's a mixture of the speed of the corners and the layout, and I think the banking helps us as well. I don't quite think where we are on the timing sheets this morning is represented. We're a little bit further away than that, but we should have a car that's fighting for points here.
Let's go bigger picture now. 10 races to go. We've all just come back from the break. You're involved in a very tense battle as we're joined now by Toto Wolff. Hi, Toto. Bigger picture, the battle for P5.
31. Yeah, it's 31. Didn't we agree all questions are for Toto now from here onwards?
Look, that battle for P5, it's very intense. Just give us an idea of what the message is to the team as you go into battle for these last 10 races.
Yeah, I think we put an upgrade on the car in Spa. That it's our last upgrade, but it should put us in a position now where it's going to be tough. But we are in the fight for 5th to the end of the season. That's the reality behind it. We just have to do everything perfectly well. Now, of course, nothing happens perfectly in Formula One, but the message to the team was, we know we're focused on 26. We know we're asking a lot of you here at the track to deliver everything you can with the car we have. And we know that other teams like Aston and potentially Sauber will keep pushing that car further forward. But you can see race on race what happens. If you get the car in the right position at the right time, especially in mixed conditions, you can walk away with a bag full of points, which can protect you to the end of the year. So, I mean, the main message now is we have 3 races, which is here, Monza and Baku, where I know our car will perform. So we need to maximize that. Then beyond there, let's take every opportunity that comes our way.
You say the focus is 26, of course it is. So how important is P5 in the Constructors' Championship? If it's P5, it's P6, does it actually matter to the team? Or as long as you make the step forward next year, that's the only thing that matters?
I mean, the money's nice, but that's honestly the only difference between those two. I don't care where we start up and down the grid. It doesn't make a single bit of difference today. And internally, we've already, the reason why we made decisions we did on cutting the investment in this year's car is quite straightforward. If we finish 6th or 7th, so be it. We have to make sure that we're making big steps forward. We have to remember where we came from is last. That's where we were. And we have a long way to go to even get close to the likes of someone like Mercedes. So let's forward invest in the future. And if that means we compromise 5th, so be it. But we'll fight with our heart until the end of it.
Okay, James, thank you for that. Toto, let's bring you in. P3 in the Constructors' Championship, everyone back to work. What is your message to your racing team as we go into this second part of the season?
Go for it. Well, as I don't know what Flavio said before, but clearly, you know, James's perspective is the right one here. We're embarking on a completely new set of regulations, and they're extremely complicated. Nobody really knows where you're going to fall out. And therefore you need to give it the highest priority. And at the same time, no racing team will want to give up a season. So how we try to do is just to deploy our trackside engineering team, a small group of engineers back at base on that current project without bringing any more major upgrades, but really optimizing the product, trying to learn as much as possible for next year. Also, you know, there's certain variables, and then there are certain topics which will be, continued, like the tires, and we're giving it everything to perform. But also, it's all about winning a championship. And if nobody remembers who came second, third, fifth, or last, and that's why you need to see the positives. The further down the chain you are, the more wind tunnel time you're going to get for the following year. And that certainly new regulations is of a massive advantage.
Does the car, or the product as you call it, does it have the underlying pace to beat Ferrari this year?
There's big fluctuations in performance. You know, in this sport we tend to be manic depressive. That one weekend you're great, or Ferrari is great, everybody says, well, now they're on a trajectory to challenge McLaren and finish second, and the next weekend is us again. And I think it's very difficult to predict.
Now, I'm sure we're going to hear who your driver lineup is in 2026 soon. But can I talk about a driver who has recently been announced as a Cadillac driver, Valtteri Bottas? What does he bring to a new team, do you think?
Valtteri is a very interesting one, because Valtteri had the fortune and misfortune to go against Lewis Hamilton as a teammate when at the peak of his game. And James and I, we've been in this for a very long time. Valtteri has tremendous speed, and is, in my opinion, or in our opinion, one of the best drivers on the grid. Valtteri left the Mercedes team because we promoted George Russell. He's similar to Kimi today, a young gun that was with Williams for a time because he was in the junior program and looked very, very promising. So that was Valtteri. Since then, he's dominated every teammate that he has had in whatever car. So I'm really happy. Obviously, we love Valtteri as a third driver and as a reserve. I said it before, if one of our works drivers were to have a fish poisoning, we put someone in a car that can be as fast and competitive. There is no compromise that we would have by putting Valtteri in the car on a given Saturday or Sunday. And that obviously goes missing because it's going to Cadillac. But at the same time, we're racers, and we love for him to have the opportunity in going back onto the grid in an exciting new project, and I'm sure he will shine.
Thank you for that. Flavio, good to see you again. Can I bring you in on the subject of Bottas, first of all? Bottas and Perez, were they ever an option?
Flavio, to be fair enough, was part of the process.
Right. Flavio, were they ever an option for you at Alpine?
No, really, we talk. I talk with a lot of people. I talk with Bottas as well. No, we talked with Toto as well at the time, but really never was a discussion for Bottas to drive me from Alpine. I think Alpine helped Bottas a little bit to sign the contract with Cadillac. We done some marketing, but this is the reason, honestly. And I like Valtteri because he's a super driver, and what Toto says is exactly the same. He was unlucky to be in Mercedes at the same time with Lewis, when Lewis was really the peak of the driving, etc., etc. We have a different idea, but it's nice to have Valtteri back. It's nice to have this driver back with a lot of experience, but I'm looking for something else.
Well, can we talk about the incumbent now in your second seat, Franco Colapinto? What do you need to see from him for him to retain that seat?
I think so. I see everything already. I don't think so I need to see anything anymore. And it's difficult. I think so for this driver, it's very difficult to cope with this car. This car are very, very heavy, very, very quick.
Yes.
And for the young driver to put in Formula One, maybe was not the time to have a Franco in Formula One. Maybe need another 1 year to be part of Formula One. And I'm not happy. Look, the result, what is important is the result. He tried very hard. We tried very hard with the engineer to please him in everything, but really it's not what I expect from Colapinto.
Okay, look, final one from me. Steve Nielsen starts work for the team next week. What do you see as job number one for him?
Not the job number one. When you're having Formula One in one team, it's a job for the team. And it's be good. I know Steve a long time. Was with me at the time with Renault, and we need somebody like Steve. We need a team manager. We need somebody know the system, and somebody know the people, and somebody coordinating the team from A to Z. It's not only one job I expect from Steve. I expect Steve to be in charge from A to Z. Basically, is what the managing director is doing. And I'm happy to have Steve next week. I believe the first day is Monday, and our first race with Steve is in Monza.
Flavio, thank you for that. Thanks to all three. Let's now open this to the floor. Name and publication. Who's first? What do you got? Yeah.
Diretta Colombo Automoto, a question for Flavio. Pierre has done an outstanding job in what has been a very difficult season for your team. Do you feel like he is the right person to steer the team into the future?
Oh, non ho capito.
Pierre has done an outstanding job this season, what has been a very difficult season for your team. Do you feel like he's the right man to steer the team into the future?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes.
Flavio, what impresses you the most about Pierre Gasly?
He's good, he's consistent, he's a team, plus, you know, Tiso Toto knew him very well. He's a team player. And we need some base in the team, and Pierre is a base in the team for the future.
Right. Thank you. Next.
Yes.
Christian Mehnert, motorsportmagazin.com. Another question for you, Flavio. Flavio?
Keep going. The idea.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Christian, on you go.
Yeah. Flavio, another one for you. Christian Horner could be available for your team. Did you consider him taking on board the Alpine project? Did you already talk to him, as he's a good friend of you as well? Thank you.
I no consider in this moment anything. And Christian is not in Formula One in this moment anymore. I hope he's come back soon. But for the moment, he's not in the picture of Alpine.
Okay, next.
Leonid Kluv, Grand Prix. A question to all three. Imagine you're Graham Lowden, team principal of Cadillac, and you have 4 candidates for next year. Checo, Valtteri, Felipe Drugovich, and Mick Schumacher. Who would you choose and why? Thank you.
It's for me?
All three of you. You can start, Flavio, if you'd like.
I live in Toto. In the... Please. Toto, take out the exactly.
Oh, well, they have all pros and cons. I think what Cadillac went for is something that you can understand. They went for experience. I don't know how many wins and podiums there are between Valtteri and Checo. And I think for that stage of the project, it is understandable then that they did that.
James?
Yeah.
Or Flag?
Well, with all these things, we only have part of the information, so you need to understand what else comes as part of those packages. But I agree with Toto. Their first year is going to be tricky and difficult, and I think experience may guide the way in where they're going.
The same of Toto. Nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Next, where are we going? Yeah.
Ivo Pakvis, Panorama. Question to Toto. Toto, loyalty has been a very important factor in your team under your leadership in a world that demands a constant flexibility and adaptability. How do you maintain that flexibility in the context of that loyalty?
Flexibility and loyalty. I think what's most important in our job is to be transparent. I think Flavio has always shown it. He says what he means. And with drivers, and the same is with us. Once you decide to embark on the road, this is what you do. You are being open about it. And for us as a team, integrity and loyalty are key factors. But that doesn't mean you're not flexible. Sometimes you need to readjust, recalibrate. There's a change of circumstances. But most important is within the team to have an open conversation about these things.
Thank you. Next.
Jonathan from the race to Flavio. Renault's got a new CEO just come in recently. How have your conversations with him gone? What kind of targets and have you laid down together? And do you still see this team on the roadmap to fight for podiums next year and potentially the championship in 27?
I don't hear.
New CEO for Renault. You have a new CEO for Renault?
Yeah. The new CEO for Renault was in Renault in the last 30 years. It's no new. But number 2, Luca De Meo. Nothing changed. He's very enthusiastic about the program of Formula One. Renault want to stay in Formula One. I believe Francois is being Monza for the first race, but I know him very well. And no, really the program is the same. The chairman, Senar, is very supportive Formula One. We need doing a better result. This is what we need to do for next year. But this year it is so very complicated for us. We put a lot of effort for the 2026 car, like Toto say, it's not easy to interpretation of the rule, etc., etc. And maybe we put the mistake to not have any step from the beginning of the season to now, and we pay for that. But as well, in this moment, in 210, 310 is a 10-15 car. We know we have a big handicap about power, about engine, and we hope to forget this year and to be happy in 2026. This is what we hope in this moment. I hope as well the new chairman of the Renault be very supporting, and for the moment really in Renault Group is no big drama, no big change, everybody's happy.
Is the objective for 26 podiums still?
Yes, because it's not when you change the job. I change the job. Maybe you give me a job. And I had the job with Toto.
All right. Next one, please.
Luke Smith from The Athletic. Toto, a question for you on Valtteri. Dan Towers said that you guys had spoken a lot through negotiations and you were still going to chat further about what Valtteri's availability would be through the remainder of this year. What are your thoughts on that? I know Valtteri will be on site as reserve for the rest of the season, but how much freedom will he have to make a head start with Cadillac ahead of next year?
Yeah, as I said before, maybe sometimes I'm being a bit naive, but I want to do the best from a racer's standpoint, the best for Valtteri, whilst not compromising the Mercedes status quo. So I think it's pretty easy. You know, Valtteri continues to be our reserve and third driver until the end of the season, and he's giving it all. I have zero doubt that he's going to do it with the utmost integrity. At the same time, I have no problem that he's starting his job in Cadillac. It makes it obviously easier that the regulations are totally different for next year. But I'm happy that, you know, it was no problem for us to release Valtteri for the announcement and the events that that Cadillac did in order to present the drivers, and it will continue so during the year. And I think Graham and Dan and support from GM, this is a very, very strong and ambitious project, good for Formula One, and that's why we want to do the utmost for them to be able to showcase what they will be doing. And therefore, if we need to give Valtteri as a driver for events or for these purposes, no problem.
Toto, would that include a test program for Cadillac in the second half of the year if that materializes?
Well, I haven't heard from any test program so far because they haven't got a car. As it stands, we will always be supportive of Valtteri because those cars are so different next year.
Thank you for that. Right. Next one, where are we going? Yeah, Stuart.
Stuart Codling, Autosport. A question for Toto. Flavio has just shot the idea down, but the rumours don't go away that perhaps Flavio, Christian and Bernie might unite by the Alpine team. What would you make of coming up against a team potentially owned by Flavio, Christian and Bernie? You know, one of them very old adversary, and presumably it would be logistically quite complicated for you to live in all of their heads rent-free simultaneously.
Yeah, well, that would be an exciting story, I guess, and would create lots of buzz around Formula One, and I think we need that. And, you know, Formula One has always been about the best racing with exciting drivers and great personalities. And I feel that, when you look back at the grand era of team owners and team principals around Frank Williams and Ron Dennis, Flavio, Montezemolo, and a few others, that's maybe we need to work on that. And if there was such an exciting project, these three guys coming together, all of the mafia reunited, that will give good content, I guess.
The sharks, the shark mafia.
Three sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Toto. Next, please.
Dan Lloyd, Race Car Engineering. A question for James. How confident do you feel that Williams can recapture some of its early season form based on what the Belgium update has been telling you and the team's response to the cooling issues you had mid-season?
I don't think we'll be back to where we were early in the season. That Ferrari have developed at a really strong rate. Mercedes, you can see, have developed at a strong rate. And the midfield now is incredibly tight. Sauber, well done to them, and Aston as well. It is really tight in that range. Whereas I think before the beginning of the season, there was a little bit of a gap that we managed to push ourselves into. I think that's unrealistic now. I think what is realistic is, Flavio described it well, 2-3 tenths separates 15 cars, near enough. It is making sure we're at the sharp end of that, which allows you to pick up points.
Thank you. Next.
Jack Smith, Motorsport Monday, motorsportweek.com. A question for Toto. Helmut Marko was quoted recently as saying that Kimi has been placed under a bit too much pressure, perhaps, by making his F1 debut with Mercedes. What is your response to that? And also, will the choice of third driver or reserve driver to replace Valtteri be based on how well he can help Kimi, given how much Kimi has said that he's helped him?
I think we have put Kimi under maximum pressure. To be honest, looking at it now, I felt it was a great idea to have him in FP1 in Monza and present him there, and that was maybe a mistake back in the day, not because he wasn't capable of driving the car, because if he would have finished that lap without crashing, it would have been sensational and it would have built the confidence. And that's why, he's in a Mercedes. He's very visible. His results are very visible. His teammate is great, and is maximizing the car, and therefore, he feels himself under the magnifying glass. And I think the team, we just continue to believe in him. He needs the time. We've embarked on this route, so you can say, well, was it right to put him under so much pressure by putting him in the team? We've taken that trajectory. We've taken that route. We are fully on the mission, and single race weekends or a session like we had before is not going to change our opinion. Yeah, short term, we're going to say that's not good, but Kimi is a long-term investment.
Third driver?
Sorry. We haven't figured it out yet.
Okay.
Super difficult to replace Valtteri. I mean, he ticks all the boxes.
Next, please.
John over from the race again to Flavio. You made a driver change earlier on in the season, bringing Franco in. Are you now set until the end of the campaign with Franco? Is there a chance Mick could come back? And what's the thought process into 26 for your second car?
We not so many change. We change Duan with Frank or Colapinto, and maybe Colapinto the same problem of what Toto said, too much pressure to be in Formula One. And last year I had 2 or 3 races with him, was doing very well, and maybe to be in the team with a good driver like Pierre, and always in competition with the teammate, and maybe we put so much pressure to him. I think so. This we need to consider that. Sometimes we believe that the driver is the human being, and we need to sometimes understand exactly what's going on in the end of this kids, because it's young kids. It's 19, 20, 22, 23. I think so it's our mistake sometimes to underestimate the human part of the driver. We're looking always for the timing. Maybe I miss something there in the management of the driver Colapinto. For the future, honestly, I don't know.
You can see that the younger drivers that are in the smaller teams, they perform, and because I think it's a totally different environment. The expectation is so low that you can only outperform. They are all high potentials for the future. But I think this is a big difference of, being under the magnifying glass and the pressure that's been created and the expectations that are being set. It's different.
James, can we bring you in on this and the performances that Franco put in the second half of last year?
Yeah, I think Toto and Flavio summed it up well. You have to remember that if something goes wrong with the Williams in a session, Williams, even though we're 5th in the championship, it's not really covered. we have teams around us, Mercedes is one of those, where everything is in the limelight and the spotlight. And so that's change number one. The pressure goes up immensely. When the pressure's not there, you're able to get a lot more out of the driver because they're not concerned about an immediate performance having an impact. Therefore, they can let go and reserve that. A good example was Franco. The first time I put him in Silverstone, he thought it was his only chance ever to get there. And then my message to him beforehand is, it's nothing to do with lap times. It is about you relaxing and enjoying the moment because this may never come back to you again. And he did a stellar performance. I don't think you can do that. In Monza, in that circumstance, in the Williams, no chance you can do that. Second change is, again, what Flavio described. 3/10 now separates the grid. So when you make a small mistake, and a small mistake is a tenth, you're last. That's a different world to where you were before, where frankly you could be a tenth off your teammate and no one would know about it. So I think you've got two changes that are making this more difficult now.
Thanks to all three of you. Right. Next question, please. Yeah, Luke.
Luke Smith from the Athletic. Again to Toto. George spoke yesterday and he's still very relaxed about his future and getting the contract sorted, said that you guys were willing to work through the summer, but he said, I'd rather just take that time off. Are you guys, there's no rush, I assume. Where are you at with all of that? And do you just want to get everything right and dot the I's and cross the T's?
Yeah, exactly like you say. George is a Mercedes driver since his junior years and Mercedes management, and we clearly know what we expect from each other, what we want. It's a formality, but at the same time, it's important to discuss even the slightest details. You know, how can we extract the most performance out of George? What is it we need to optimize on marketing days, for example? That is, and it's not the amount of marketing days, but it's simply talking about a structure that helps him to perform at its best. And these are the things we haven't discussed them over the summer because we felt we need to just get out of each other's face for a while, and we're going to pick these discussions up, or we have already picked up the discussions.
Okay, thank you for that. Any more from the floor? Yes, please.
Jonathan Rees, to Toto, there were some comments you made recently that gathered a bit of traction. Are you saying next year's cars could top 400 kilometres an hour? Is that literally what your simulator's saying, or was it more just a figure of speech and a nice round number?
It sounds good, no? Everybody's talking those engines down, so I had to figure out, is there anything positive? And that is. If you were to deploy, obviously semi-sarcastically, but if you were to deploy all the energy on a single straight, you could make those cars go 400 kilometers an hour. And I don't know if somebody got afraid by it, but we could. But there wouldn't be much electric energy left for the other few corners on a track on a circuit.